Hello, everyone. Series 7 of things you could do in the 80s and no one would bat an eye. We had a Y mountain in Provo, Utah that was connected to BYU, Brigham Young University, and it was called the Y. And we would climb up it often. And one day, my brother asked if I would go hiking with him, so we went up and hiked up the Y, and we brought our friend David with us, and he was going to time us going down the mountain to see how fast we could go. And my brother and I went up to the bottom part of the Y, and he looked at me, he's like, Rachel, I'm going to go straight down the mountain right here, and you're going to go on the trail. And we're going to see who can get to the bottom the fastest. And I was like, dude, you're so going to get there faster than me. And he's like, no, maybe not. And I'm like, okay, this isn't fair. He's like, come on, just do it anyway. We're just going to see how fast we can go down the mountain. And so I said, okay. So he's like, okay, ready, set, go. And I ran as fast as I could. And my brother is 4 years older than me, so his legs are longer, and he's just a super athlete. But I ran my heart out. And I got to the bottom, and I saw him down there talking to David. And David looked at me, and he's like, it took you 8 minutes, Rachel. And I'm like, okay. He's like, it only took Michael 6. And so Michael was all bloody, and he was just dripping in blood, and he was laughing, and I'm like, why are you all bloody? And he's like, I ran into a couple bushes, and it hurt. And he's laughing. He's like, let's go back up there, Rachel, and see if we can do it faster. And I was like, no, this is not fair, and 2, you're all bloody, and I don't want to see this. It broke my heart to see my brother all bloody. And so I left. I found out my brother did it in close to 5 minutes, and anyway, that's the story of racing down the Y Mountain. But we would go to the Y Mountain on field trips in elementary school, and we would go there on the 4th of July, and we could climb up the actual Y back then. Now you're not even allowed to get on the Y. But we would climb up there on the 4th, and we'd watch the fireworks from the Stadium of Fire. And one year, Donny Osmond came, and he knew that people would go hike the Y to watch the fireworks at the stadium. And he flew past on a helicopter about 5 times waving at us, and he was pretty cool. Sweet guy, and we all cheered, yay, Donny! It was so exciting. But when we had our field trips in elementary school, when I was in 3rd or 4th grade, this girl by the name of Rachel started running down the Y, and we were all eating lunch, and she started doing flips down the mountain, and we all just like stared at her because we couldn't believe that somebody was falling. And luckily we had our teachers were prepared, and there was a first aid lady there, and the other teacher ran down the mountain and called another guy from the school and an ambulance, and they were all ready. They had her all down the mountain safely within like 20 minutes. It was incredible watching them work so hard and so fast. And this kind of sad thing is we would go up to the Y afterward on our own, and her blood was still on the Y, and it was there. Nobody ever cleaned it off. Her parents didn't clean it off. Nobody thought to clean it off. Nobody even knew what it was because it turned black, but I knew what it was. And she ended up coming back to school like a few months later, and she was in a body cast, and it was really sad. And but she made a full recovery, and but now you can't even climb on the Y. And but we were tough back then, those things didn't happen a lot. It just didn't. And so even though things did happen, it didn't happen often, and it just seemed like a funner place to go up to. I just recently hiked up the Y a couple weeks ago with my brother and his 2 sons, and it was sad to see that you couldn't even get on the Y anymore. And I don't know. I just think that the things in the 80s were just nicer because we didn't have everybody suing everybody, and everybody just looked out for each other. Now it's everybody looks out for themselves, and I don't know. It just seemed nicer back then, hiking the Y, than it does today.